everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Montefusco and I'm a lover of all things when it comes to makeup, and today is a continuation of my Pat McGrath series. So I have Mothership VII Divine Rose to play with today, and I'm going to be showing you all an eye look with this palette, as well as giving you all some swatches and also just giving you all my thoughts on this palette. So if you are interested in that, then please keep on watching. So as always, I start out with some eyeshadow primer. So my favorite primer is the Milani eyeshadow primer, but feel free to use whichever eyeshadow primer you like the best. So in case you're not aware, this is what the palette looks like. So in this palette, we have lots of lighter tones and lots of pinky and rosy toned neutrals. So that's really the look I'm going to go for today. I'm first going to take my Nabla N306 brush, and I'm going to go into this dusty lilac-y rose shade on the top row, and I'm just going to fluff that into my crease. So next, I'm going to take this small crease brush. This is my Nabla N205, and I'm going to go into the satiny, like dusty, darker, pinky shade on that bottom row, and I'm just going to define my inner crease with this shade. I really like the depth that that brings into the crease. So my right eye has that shade, my left eye does not, and you can really see the difference in the amount of depth in my crease, and that's something I really like doing. All right, so now the crease is done, and I'm going to move on to the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to take my Nabla N204, and we're going to go into this dark brown on the bottom corner of the palette, and I'm just going to pack that on to my outer corner, and then we'll blend it out with a different brush. These mattes, as always, are on the powdery side, so make sure you tap off your brush when using this palette. At least that's my experience with Pat McGrath mattes. They're a bit powdery, but I'm willing to deal with that to get the pigment I want, which these shades do give me the pigment I want. And now I'm going to blend that out with my Nabla N305 brush. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that brown and just pack it on the very, very outer parts of my eye. All right, now that I'm done with the mattes on my lid, I'm going to go into some metallics. So as always, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know the drill. Too Faced glitter glue, put that on my lids, and then we'll go into some of those beautiful Blitz Actual shades that I am just so in love with in this palette especially. So now I'm going to go into this gold shade right here, and also that like rosy gold pink shade on the bottom, and I'm going to put that all over my lids. So first going into that gold shade in the middle of my lid, and then we'll blend in that pinky rose gold shade into it, kind of creating a bit of a gradient with the metallics. Perfect, I really like that. So now I just removed the bake under my eyes, and I'm actually going to apply a little bit of this extra glitter glue that I have on my finger into my inner corners. I don't normally do this, but sometimes I do if I want the metallic that I'm applying to my inner corners to be especially intense. And I feel like with the Pat McGrath metallics, they're already intense enough, but if you put some glitter glue in your inner corner, like, you're gonna get a lot of shimmer and shine and color payoff, and that's really what I want today. So I had some extra glitter glue on my finger. I was like, why not? Why not do that today? So in my inner corner, I'm going to go into this Blitz Actual shade on the bottom row of the palette. It's like a champagne-y shade. It does have that rougher Blitz Actual texture. It's a bit more chunky, glittery, that kind of situation. On my brow bone, I'm going to go into the shade above that one. It's kind of like a white to pink iridescent. It's really pretty on the brow bone. It has a very smooth texture and it shifts to like a hot pink, and I think it's a really cool shade. So that's going to go on my brow bone. And then for my lower lash line, I'm going to go into this dark brown satiny shade that's above that defining shade that I used in my crease, and we're just gonna smoke out the lower lash line a bit. All right, so here's the completed eye look. I'm going to apply eyeliner and mascara and also my lip products off camera, and then I will give you all my thoughts on this palette because I've used this palette plenty of times, and then I'll also give you some swatches, and then we'll wrap up the video. All right, so here is the completed look with eyeliner, mascara, and lips. So what do I think about the Divine Rose 1 palette from Pat McGrath? I think that this is a great palette. Again, like I've said in like all these videos, Pat McGrath's formulas never disappoint me, at least in all of the palettes that I have. I think the mattes are really great and pigmented and easy to blend and also easy to build up. They are a bit on the powdery side, but again, I'm willing to deal with that for the desired outcome. I think the satiny shimmers, I think they're really great. They're very versatile. I use them like mattes most of the time, but you can also use them as shimmers if you want something a bit less intense than what the Blitz Actual shades will give you. And of course, those special shades, those 4 special shades, the Blitz Actual shades, those are my favorite. And I feel like that's what really makes Pat McGrath palette special. And as you can see on my eyes, they are just so beautiful and they catch the light and they're just so special and textured and stunning. So I really love this palette. I think this palette is great for any occasion where you want something a little bit more natural and neutral. But of course, this palette still does have like a pinky undertone, so it's a little bit colorful, maybe like a tiny bit. So I could see myself using this palette once I'm back in the office for my job. I could see myself using this in the mornings when I'm getting ready for work and just having a really nice, classy, you know, just eyeshadow look that's nothing too crazy. Also, I think that this palette is a really good companion palette to the Divine Rose 2, which is basically this palette but like amped up a few notches. So I think they're really good sister palettes if you do want to mix and match them together. That's something I've done before, and so I think that's a really good way to work with the palettes as well if you do have both of them in your collection. So with that, those are my thoughts. We're now going to get into some very quick swatches, and then I will close out the video. So I'm going to start with the top row going from my right to my left. So the first shade is a very just like creamy, natural satiny shimmer. And then we have that dusty rose that I used in my crease. And then that satiny shimmery brown that I used on my lower lash line. So I think today I'm actually going to swatch on my hands to try something a little bit different. Let me know how you all think of this. So those are the first 3 shades of the palette, and then this is what they look like on my fingers as well. So they all swatch very nicely. So next we have our first Blitz Actual shade, which is that gold color that I put on my lid, and then we have that iridescent hot pink that I have on my my brow bone. So those are what the shades look like on my hands and on my fingers. So that is the first row on my hand right there. So next up we have that matte brown that I used in my outer corner, as well as I'd call this like a purpley brown that I did not use, but I think it would be really pretty on the lid. And then we have that defining shade that I used in my crease, which is like again, more of like a warmer toned purpley brown. So I'll swatch these. So that's what those shades look like on my fingers as well as on my hands. Again, they swatch really nicely. And also for your reference, I did not use any sort of primer. I did not wet my hands. I did not use any sort of glitter glue, no lotion, nothing. So these are just dry swatches. And last but not least, we have the last two Blitz actual shades, which are that pinky gold shade that I have on my lid. I think this is my favorite shade in the palette. And then that more chunky shade that I have in my inner corner, which is also the only more textured shade in the palette. So I'm gonna swatch these. And so here's what they look like on my hand and then also on my fingers. So that is the whole palette right there. That is Divine Rose 1, and I think it's just a really beautiful natural color story with the really beautiful rosy tone, so what's not to love, right? So that wraps up the video. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all found this helpful, whether or not you have this palette in your collection. If you do have this palette in your collection, I hope this video inspires you to bring it out and play with it and really enjoy the makeup you already have. And if you don't have this palette in your collection and it's something that you're interested in, I hope this video was really helpful to give you my thoughts and what I think about this palette, which, spoiler, I really like it. So with that, if you like this video, please like this video. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you like me, please subscribe. I post 3 times a week about beauty, makeup, fragrance, all of that fun stuff. We have a great time here and I really enjoy posting videos. And if you have anything to comment down below, any thoughts about this palette, whether or not you own it, if you all have other ideas for videos that you would like to see on my channel, something that you think that's missing on here, please let me know. I love taking your suggestions, and I actually do take your suggestions quite a lot. So with that, thank you for spending a little part of your day with me, and I will see you all next time. Bye.